Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Jujutsu Kaisen. Sign in at the beginning of the game with Bamen Dunjia. Chapter 21. Everything happened so suddenly. Before Kugasaki Nobara finished speaking, the next moment, the ripples of spell power that appeared under her whole body were pulled down, as if a person had stumbled and fallen into a swamp, and was swallowed up in the blink of an eye. Itadori Yuji and Fushiguro Megumi turned their heads sharply when they heard Kugasaki Nobara's voice disconnect. Nah, Sake, but where is the shadow of Kugasaki Nobara behind him? Cursed spirit is on the move. Fushiguro Megumi snorted coldly, and with his hands in the shape of a dog, he wanted to call the jade dog back, but no matter how he tried, he lost contact with the jade dog. Fuhei, look behind you. Hearing this, Fushiguro Megumi turned around to look, and then his body shook. On the wall behind him, Jade Dog was summoned by Fushiguro Megumi to explore the way. Only his head was stuck in the wall, bleeding profusely, exploded. Impossible. Fushiguro Megumi spurted out a mouthful of old blood in a moment of excitement. The 10 kinds of shadow spells are to summon the Shikigami through a specific hand shape by signing a contract with the Shikigami, and use the consumption of mana as a combat method. Jade Dog is not only Fushiguro Megumi's first Shikigami, but also the one with the deepest affection and bond. The tragic death of Jade Dog was a big blow to Fushiguro Megumi. Fushiguro, are you okay? Itadori Yuji hastily pulled Fushiguro Megumi up. Fushiguro Megumi wiped off the blood stains from the corner of his mouth, and his sword eyebrows condensed into Sichuan characters. Compared with being sad right now, what is more noteworthy is the ability of the enemy. Being able to abduct Kugasaki Nobara without making a sound, and also make the Jade Dog be killed in seconds without even making a sound. It's all so weird. A desperate thought came to mind. Fushiguro Megumi regained his composure and shouted, "This is not a place to stay for a long time. Itadori, run. Come back to Kizuki later." However, just when Fushiguro Megumi's voice fell, a tall figure suddenly appeared in front of the two of them. The cursed spirit in front of him was tall and his shape was close to that of a human. However, the coercion of the magic power emitted from his body far exceeded the tolerance threshold of Fushiguro Megumi and Itadori Yuji. It just needs to stand still, and the spell force alone can make Fushiguro Megumi and Itadori Yuji immobile. Is this the special grade cursed spirit? Itadori Yuji's forehead was dripping with cold sweat, and he had a clear answer in his heart. The first level cursed spirit he encountered in the Roppongi apartment building in the last entrance examination was far from this level. If that cursed spirit faced this one, he would be instantly killed. Deep despair emerged in the hearts of the two of them. It's dead now. The screen came to Kugasaki Nobara's side. After being engulfed by black ripples, he felt a sense of weightlessness first, and then came to a completely dark room. In her perception, in all directions, as far as the eye can see, there is the breath of curse. This amount, Kugasaki Nobara gasped, unbelievable, this is a life-threatening crisis. Either nail these awful, or be eaten by these awful. Bah, Kugasaki Nobara spat, she was never one to just sit and wait to die. What international joke? Stay here, who will shop in so many streets in Tokyo? Who will use the new bags and clothes? Kugasaki Nobara clenched the cursed tool tightly in his hand. Scrap, grandma is angry, and the consequences are serious. Frontal battlefield. After the special cursed spirit appeared, it did not immediately end the lives of Itadori Yuji and Fushiguro Megumi, but looked at them jokingly, quietly admiring the fearful expressions of the two. Fear is a vibe that cursed spirit loves. Fuhei, listen to me, I will hand over the control of my body to Ryomen Sukuna later, and after the countdown counts down for 10 seconds, you run recklessly. Fuhei immediately refused. Itadori can't. You can't grasp Ryomen Sukuna. After you release him, you will no longer be you. You will be removed as a curse. Itadori Yuji said. Fuhei, it's actually the same, we can't deal with the super cursed spirit, there is no way except to release Ryomen Sukuna. I know that once my body is controlled by Ryomen Sukuna, it will be taken out as a curse, but if I don't, then both you and Kizuki-san will die. If you have to choose, it's better to die one than three. Fushiguro Megumi was speechless. He had to admit that Itadori Yuji was right. Not to mention that they can't deal with super cursed spirit, even teacher Lin Feng can't do it, unless Teacher Gojo Satoru is present, but it's a pity that Teacher Gojo Satoru can't be there. Right now, there's nothing to do but get Ryomen Sukuna out. This is the only way to survive tail docking. Itadori. Fuhei, don't forget about me. The moment the voice fell, Fushiguro Megumi forcibly activated the mantra to tear away the coercion of the special grade cursed spirit, then turned and ran towards the back, while Itadori Yuji grabbed the Tuzumo and slashed at it desperately. The two moved in opposite directions. Boom! There was a sound of metal and iron clashing. Tuzumo slashed on the head of the super cursed spirit, and was directly shattered into shattered blades, and Itadori Yuji's hand holding the knife was dislocated by the shock force. The special grade cursed spirit stretched out a finger and swiped lightly. Itadori Yuji flew out and welded to the wall. It is said that Itadori Yuji's physical fitness is far superior to that of ordinary people, but he is not invulnerable. After being hit by the special grade cursed spirit head-on, the bones in his whole body are almost shattered. The special grade cursed spirit came to the dying Itadori Yuji, and was about to kill the ants in front of him. At the critical moment, Itadori Yuji's breath changed suddenly. Black lines appeared on his body, and the second pair of eyes on his face opened. Hey, it's almost there. Itadori Yuji successfully ascended the tuba, and Ryomen Sukuna left the wall at a speed that even the special level cursed spirit had no time to react, and walked straight to the front. When the kid's consciousness was sagging, what he wanted was to hold back the special grade cursed spirit and buy time for his companions to live. Ryomen Sukuna grinned. Idiot, who wants to wipe your ass for you? I don't even know when I became a partner of justice. As king of curses, helping a brat fight cursed spirit. Are you kidding me? Ryomen Sukuna don't want to lose face. Now, Ryomen Sukuna's real idea is to take the first year trio. He wanted to see that man's reaction. It's sure to be fun. Ryomen Sukuna had a smile on his lips, but soon, the smile gradually disappeared. Tisk, it's still too idealistic. If I go directly to chase and kill those two jujutsu masters, I'm afraid that the kid will forcefully exchange them before they catch up. The loss outweighs the gain. Then, the way to deal with it is. Suddenly, he thought of an excellent idea, and immediately laughed wildly. Then let's get it all back to square one. Hey, that cursed spirit over there. Ryomen Sukuna turned around and hooked his finger at the premium cursed spirit behind him. I'm going to have some fun, you help me. If he hadn't been sealed thousands of years ago, a cursed spirit like this wouldn't be worthy of his eyes at all, but it's a pity that there is nothing to criticize now. The order fell. Ryomen Sukuna turned and left. However, Ryomen Sukuna was the only imaginary super cursed spirit to follow. The super cursed spirit who acted as the pioneer did not understand the meaning, nor did he intend to understand it. Instead, he attacked Ryomen Sukuna directly from the body. Brush. The special grade cursed spirit moved so fast that there were no afterimages. At the same time as the sound of piercing the air, the special grade cursed spirit had already arrived in front of Ryomen Sukuna, fisted and bombarded. Ryomen Sukuna's eyes sank. It seems that this super-class cursed spirit with a dull head has some opinions. Boom. Ryomen Sukuna blocked the super cursed spirit's fist with a finger, and the shock wave generated by the collision of the fists radiated out, shaking the surrounding buildings into dust. A burst of free fall. Ryomen Sukuna came to the bottom of the boy's yard, and then saw Kugasaki Nobara being beaten up by the miscellaneous fish cursed spirit. Kugasaki Nobara's cursed tool is interrupted. Her whole body was pulled and screamed by a burly cursed spirit. Her nose was blue and her eyes were swollen, hanging upside down in the air. 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. A good girl can't stand the crowd. Kugasaki Nobara's physical strength and magic power simply could not support her to win this battle. It doesn't help if all the cards are exhausted. I remember your face. Although Kugasaki Nobara was embarrassed, she did not change her true nature. After I die, I will become a cursed spirit, and my aunt will never let you go. Miscellaneous fish cursed spirit's face was full of sarcasm. The winner was already decided. What's the use of saying more cruel words? Can turn the tide of battle. Boom. A roar sounded. I saw an extremely fast figure descending from the sky, directly shattering the entire dark room. Boom. The figure landed on the burly cursed spirit. The surface of the dark room with cursed spirit as the center of the circle suddenly caved in, and a deep spider web was cracked. Flying stones all over the sky, smoke and dust everywhere. And the burly cursed spirit that was about to devour Kugasaki Nobara was hit by this huge force on the top of its head, and the overbearing force directly shattered its body. Blood and flesh flew all over the ground, and the Kugasaki Nobara in his hand was also thrown away. The surrounding miscellaneous fish cursed spirit came back to their senses. Looking at the super cursed spirit in the field, they were all dumbfounded. Although the thinking ability of the miscellaneous fish cursed spirit is limited, no matter how limited it is, they still see their companions being killed. Immediately, the miscellaneous fish cursed spirit became restless. After all, cursed spirit couldn't resist following a boss who would kill his own people at every turn. The special grade cursed spirit ignored the cursed spirit that was jumped to death by itself, and did not care about the restless miscellaneous fish around it. Its full attention fell on Ryomen Sukuna not far away. A dim light suddenly appeared. The super grade cursed spirit turned into a dark light and went straight through the cursed spirit of the trash fish, and came to Ryomen Sukuna. Wherever it passed, the cursed spirit of the trash fish died suddenly. It really bothers me. Ryomen Sukuna hugged his arms, dodging and moving around, and dodged all the super high-speed combos of the super cursed spirit. The super cursed spirit that made Master Jujutsu despair. Here in Ryomen Sukuna, he couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes. The entire children's palace became precarious because of such a battle. Ryomen Sukuna evaded for a while, then suddenly stopped his dodging figure, and the special grade cursed spirit rushed forward and punched out. Boom! Ryomen Sukuna punched like lightning, hitting the super class cursed spirit's fist, shattering one of its arms with unmatched force. The special grade cursed spirit stepped back again and again, and glanced at the empty right half of his shoulder. He wanted to stimulate the recovery ability, but he couldn't grow back the severed arm. At this moment, a trace of surprise, doubt, and fear appeared on the face of the special grade cursed spirit. You've lost your value. All the patience in Ryomen Sukuna's eyes was wiped away, replaced by a hint of arrogance. Domain expansion. The bottom of the children's palace with Ryomen Sukuna as the center of the circle entered the birth domain without warning. The speed is so fast that even the special grade cursed spirit can react. You must know that the special grade cursed spirit has already set up a birth domain in the children's palace, and Ryomen Sukuna turned the whole body into its own domain in just an instant. That is, in just a moment. The special cursed spirit's birth domain was torn apart, and based on this, Ryomen Sukuna built his own domain. Domain expansion. The altar of subduing demons. A voice like a ghost from hell sounded. Ryomen Sukuna joins hands together and makes mudra. A cold aura spread out from Ryomen Sukuna as the core, and the cold aura swept over, and the ground under his feet suddenly became like a mirror. Reflecting, I saw a large Buddhist altar full of bull-headed giant skulls appeared behind him. The altar is so huge that it looks like a gateway to hell from a distance. Standing in front of the huge altar, Ryomen Sukuna's aura suddenly changed. The invisible potential spread out. All the air currents in the entire juvenile courtyard are controlled by Ryomen Sukuna. Field. Submit Demon Royal Cook. Closing square bracket. Ryomen Sukuna is the absolute king in the realm. The airflow circulating around the body can be used by one thought. The special grade cursed spirit is in the domain, and the two battles are suppressed by the overwhelming cold aura. It's scared. Turn into powder. A cruel smile appeared on the corner of Ryomen Sukuna's mouth, and at the same time as the smile disappeared, his mind moved. The surrounding air currents turned into endless slashing attacks, slashing at the special grade cursed spirit. The indiscriminate attack of the Buddhist altars and reflections that appeared in the field fell on the head of the super cursed spirit in an instant. Brush. The endless slash penetrated the body of the special grade cursed spirit, splitting it into several parts from the center, and the endless slash that suddenly appeared at that moment cut open the body of the special grade cursed spirit, and at the same time cut off all its regenerated cells. This is the tip of the iceberg of Fumo Yuchu's ability. Ryomen Sukuna closed the field in seconds and rubbed the space between his eyebrows. With this kid's current body, it's still too much to forcibly start the domain. He slowly walked towards the corpse of the special grade cursed spirit, and the corpse of the special grade cursed spirit spread out like a flower in 5 parts. Reaching out and rummaging through the flesh for a while, he found a finger, 1/20th of Ryomen Sukuna himself. It's returned to its original owner. Ryomen Sukuna swallowed his finger without hesitation, and the finger entered his belly. The incomplete and familiar feeling came back a little bit, and the discomfort of using the magic power just now was also eliminated. Ah, that woman ran away. Ryomen Sukuna looked around. Where is Kugasaki Nobara? Forget it. Anyway, this kid can't wake up, so I'll go overboard. The periphery of the children's palace. The curse pattern in the sky has disappeared, and the dark clouds pile up more and more, and finally some heavy rain falls, which washes away the breath of residuals in the air. Fushiguro Megumi stood in the rain unwilling to leave. Shortly after his desperate escape, Kugasaki Nobara also escaped, and he knew it must be that fellow Itadori Yuji who blocked the special cursed object and gave him time to escape. That guy gave himself and Nagasaki the chance of life, but left him with a dead end. Fool. Fushiguro Megumi stood in the rain. Although the high school's people had slowly withdrawn, he was still willing to go, not knowing what he was waiting for. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the rain curtain ahead. Fushiguro Megumi took a closer look, first in ecstasy, then in a fighting pose. Itadori Yuji came out from inside, but it wasn't Itadori Yuji who came out. Huh, have everyone else run away? Ryomen Sukuna's unique voice sounded, and his eyes fell through the rain, and fell directly on Fushiguro Megumi. You were the jujutsu teacher at that time, and I finally found the wrong person, otherwise I would have to kill each of them. Fushiguro Megumi said in a cold voice, where is Itadori Yuji? What is this, a touching friendship? It's really funny. Ryomen Sukuna looked at Fushiguro Megumi's stinky face, and he was very excited. That kid, he won't come back. It's ridiculous. Even though I've been shut down last time, I still don't have a long memory. Ryomen Sukuna joked. This kid was beaten to death already inside. When I took over my body, all the bones in my body were probably shattered. I probably couldn't survive, but so what? Fushiguro Megumi's face was gloomy, and he was extremely determined. Since Itadori can't come back, then you are a curse through and through. I'm going to kill you. After the words fell, Fushiguro Megumi summoned the black jade dog and shouted to attack Ryomen Sukuna, and he also took out the cursed tool and rushed up. Boom boom boom. Thunder and lightning flashed in the sky, and the rain became heavier. Fushiguro Megumi fell to the ground powerlessly. Black Jade Inu and Ao were beaten and forcibly terminated the contract, and he himself was beaten without any power to resist. Ryomen Sukuna clapped his hands with a calm face. Bored, so boring that I want to add some serious information before you die. What? Ryomen Sukuna's palm was free on his chest mouth. I know that there is a jujutsu teacher in the Jujutsu High School who specializes in healing with the inversion technique, so this kid is very difficult to die. But now I want to make his death a fait accompli. Fushiguro Megumi, guess what, can he live without a heart? Thunder and lightning flashed in the sky, and the rain became heavier and heavier. In the rain, Ryomen Sukuna opened his arms, allowing the rain to wash over his body wantonly, with a perverted expression on his face. Oh, even the rain is joyful. Ryomen Sukuna looked down at Fushiguro Megumi from a high position. Although the two are currently looking at the same level, Fushiguro Megumi can only be at the bottom. In any case, the present Fushiguro Megumi is unlikely to be an equal to Ryomen Sukuna. The first is the absolute lack of strength. As long as Ryomen Sukuna wants to, he can easily kill Fushiguro Megumi. Next is Ryomen Sukuna holding hostage, and the hostage is Itadori Yuji. When Itadori Yuji swallowed the first finger, King of Curses woke up in his body. The two belong to the same body. Itadori Yuji can suppress Ryomen Sukuna to control the body, but in contrast, when Ryomen Sukuna is in control of the body, everything is shared. The current Ryomen Sukuna uses Itadori Yuji's body, and any injury or damage will be repaid to Itadori Yuji one by one. It is unrealistic to imagine that if Fushiguro Megumi has the power to pull out Ryomen Sukuna now, Itadori Yuji will also die while pulling out Sukuna. It's like killing Itadori Yuji with a light hand. Such a thing, Fushiguro Megumi cannot do. Boom. Ryomen Sukuna kicked Fushiguro Megumi in the stomach, and Megumi slid straight out on the ground and rolled on the grass, unable to get up again. I can feel your despair. Ryomen Sukuna laughed loudly. Desperate, more desperate. I will be very happy. Ryomen Sukuna gently scratched the flesh with his fingertips. By the way, as curse, I can survive even without a heart. When Fushiguro Megumi heard this, his pupils shrank suddenly. No. However, Fushiguro Megumi's screams of collapse were covered by Ryomen Sukuna's wild laughter. Just when Ryomen Sukuna was about to pull out his heart, on the nick of time, a blinding white light tore through the rain, piercing from a distance, and sliced Ryomen Sukuna's hand up to his wrist before he could strike. Base. The clear sound of the sword's cry was particularly clear in the rain curtain. When the white light retracted, at the end of the retraction, a slender figure appeared. Ryomen Sukuna looked down at his broken limbs down to the wrist, bleeding profusely, but he didn't even notice it. After a while, Ryomen Sukuna's 4 eyes officially met Lin Feng, who was rushing over. Lin Feng held the Zanpakudo and Divine Spear in one hand, maintaining the posture of returning to the sheath, and in the other hand, he carried a bag of Sendai's specialty kikufu. Fu Hei, are you all right? Lin Feng's voice came. Fushiguro Megumi struggled to get up. I'm fine, Mr. Lin Feng, be careful, the current Ryomen Sukuna has already killed the super cursed spirit in the children's palace, and may have swallowed that finger. I know. Lin Feng came to Fushiguro Megumi and handed kikufu over. The inside is edamame milk flavor, Mr. Gojo Satoru's favorite flavor, don't spill it. Teacher Lin Feng. Fushiguro Megumi feels that Mr. Lin Feng is very similar to Mr. Gojo Satoru in terms of taking things slowly. No matter how dangerous the situation is, in the eyes of the two, they can take their time. You just need to get away a little bit now. As soon as the words fell, Lin Feng's eyes fell on Ryomen Sukuna, and the latter's eyes also looked over, full of endless killing intent. Are you angry? Ryomen Sukuna said. When I was inside, I thought about what your expression would be like, but it was much calmer than I thought. A mature jujutsu teacher after all. Finished. Lin Feng's reaction made Ryomen Sukuna startled, so what's going on? Does this man's emotions not fluctuate? You must know that you and Itadori Yuji are in a contractual relationship of life and death. Doesn't he care about this kid's life or death? Lin Feng put the Zanpakudo and Divine Spear back on his waist, and said leisurely, 10 seconds. Last time at school, I beat you up for 10 seconds. This time it will be 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, I will change it back. Lin Feng's words were very calm from the beginning, and the meaning in the words was very simple, and he changed back after 10 seconds. Naturally, Ryomen Sukuna changed it back by himself. For some reason, suddenly, the rain gradually stopped. The light rain fell on the ground, and the puddles on the ground reflected Ryomen Sukuna's angry face. King of Curses was angry for the first time. Thousands of years, you are one of the very few people who can make me angry. Ryomen Sukuna stretched out his hand violently, and the airflow around him suddenly became turbulent. The airflow spread out with him as the center, and the surrounding vegetation was suddenly bent down due to the strong wind. Immediately, Ryomen Sukuna grabbed forward, and the spell power transformed into a slash along with the airflow, and slashed straight to where Lin Feng was. Lin Feng frowned. Ryomen Sukuna's move is a new skill. Judging by its state, it seems to be a reduced version of the domain attack method. Ryomen Sukuna was active in the heyday of Jujutsu thousands of years ago, and was a well-deserved king of curses. After it was sealed, 20 fingers were cut off and sealed with multiple means of death wax, secret method, and talisman paper. In order to prevent cursed spirit from teaming up to snatch Sukuna's finger and causing an uncontrollable situation, after Sukuna's finger is completely sealed, it is secretly distributed all over Japan and guarded by exclusive agencies. For thousands of years, except that the cursed spirits waged wars and snatched some Sukuna fingers, the rest were still sealed and controlled by the Jujutsu world. Paying such a huge price also proves the status of Ryomen Sukuna, King of Curses. Regarding the combat power of Ryomen Sukuna, in the original plot of Jujutsu, in addition to the Fumo Yuchuzi used in the curse embracing event, there is also the absolute crushing of the 15-fingered strength in the Shibuya incident. The rest of the pages are not described. In other words, the full strength of Ryomen Sukuna and other means of attack are still a mystery. It just so happened that Lin Feng was very interested in this. Ryomen Sukuna is cast by spell power, simulating a domain attack. Although the lethality and hit rate are not as good as the state of the domain, it should not be underestimated. The magic power was concentrated at one point, and it slashed towards Lin Feng's place. The trees and buildings along the way couldn't bear the sharpness, and they were cut neatly. Even the asphalt road was struck with shocking gullies. Lin Feng stood there, motionless. When the magic power slash was about to be slashed, Lin Feng was moved. He didn't use the Zanpakuto and the sharp gun, nor did he use the 8 doors of Dunjia, but a brand new technique. Water Escape Jujutsu Big Shark Bomb. Lin Feng cast a spell to switch the mana in his body to mana water, and then pressed his palm heavily on the ground. The next moment, the pattering rain gathered towards Lin Feng. Combined with the mana water, a huge shark water bomb was condensed directly. The shark was lifelike, it opened its mouth and roared and rushed out. Boom! The giant shark water bomb devours all of Ryomen Sukuna's mantra slashes. The water is infinite, no matter how many times it is cut, it is also infinite. Boom! The shark water bomb flew over Ryomen Sukuna's head, exploded and turned into raindrops. Ryomen Sukuna stood in the rain, and couldn't help opening his mouth. King of Curses is all stupid. What kind of spell in Jujutsu is this? It's outrageous. During his peak period, he killed countless Jujutsu masters, including many talented Jujutsu masters of the Amazing Era, but no one can be particularly remembered by him. To this day, for the first time in his life, King of Curses Ryomen Sukuna has a look of extreme consternation on his face. Yet the attack is far from over. The corner of Lin Feng's mouth curled up. He was very satisfied with the effect of the first Jujutsu version of ninjutsu. Water Escape Jujutsu Water Prison Art. When Lin Feng uttered the second Jujutsu, Ryomen Sukuna was shocked. He didn't feel any concentration of mana at all. Suddenly, the raindrops that were not considered by Ryomen Sukuna stagnated for an instant, and a strange thing happened. The falling raindrops stagnated, and each raindrop began to connect, forming a water network in the blink of an eye. The net of water swooped down towards Ryomen Sukuna's head, forming a hovering water ball, trapping Ryomen Sukuna like a fish in it. Quiet, deadly still, Ryomen Sukuna was trapped in the water polo like a fish that had lost his dreams. As King of Curses, it was okay to not breathe, but what confused him was Lin Feng's spell. 7, 8, 9. When Lin Feng said 9, Ryomen Sukuna inside the water polo closed his eyes. Clatter. With a thought, Lin Feng unlocked the water prison technique. The water polo broke, and Itadori Yuji lay quietly on the ground, very peacefully. At the last second, Ryomen Sukuna chose to give back control of his body, and at the end, he even restored his injured hand. Lin Feng picked up the unconscious Itadori Yuji and walked towards the outside of the children's palace. Fushiguro Megumi followed behind, staring at Lin Feng's back all the way. The battle just now also stunned Fushiguro Megumi. Strangeness. Is teacher Lin Feng really just a first-level jujutsu teacher with a rating? The curse mission of the Juvenile Academy has come to an end. Jujutsu High School, Medical Department. Ieri Shoko took Itadori Yuji's broken bones back with a reversal technique, and then glanced at the 2 guys who were eating kikufu next to him. You 2 are really outrageous. Gojo Satoru stopped eating and quickly handed out a kikufu. Shoko, thank you for your hard work. Let me give you the last kikufu, it's delicious. Ieri Shoko gave Gojo Satoru a blank look, ignored kikufuku, and said, although I shouldn't say much about your coaching, I should be nicer to the students. It's not a problem to come to me to hold Buddha's feet twice in 3 days. Gojo Satoru chuckled. Shoko, you educated. The izakaya I often go to. In order to thank Ieri Shoko, he worked tirelessly to treat the first-year trio. After the treatment was over, Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru offered to invite them to dinner. For Ieri Shoko, drinking is good. Ah, this family's sake is really amazing. No matter how many times you drink it, you won't feel tired, as if your tiredness has been soothed. Ieri Shoko sipped a glass of wine and said with satisfaction. Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru sat opposite each other, one silently pouring wine and the other chatting. Ieri Shoko chuckled. Sorry, I can't hold back the way you 2 look like this. Ah, is our appearance funny? Gojo Satoru is puzzled. It's not a question of whether it's funny or not, it's a very magical question. Ieri Shoko said. I still remember when I asked you to drink. As big men, you all said that underage should not drink alcohol. But now, they are pouring wine for me, and I feel very emotional. Time can change many things. Gojo Satoru glanced at Lin Feng. For example, Mr. Lin Feng has given me a lot of surprises in a short period of time. I went out for a while and came back, but he cut a special grade. Gojo Satoru's tone was a little angry, as if silently accusing Lin Feng. The relationship between the two of them is so good, it is really unsatisfactory for me to play hide and clumsy. Lin Feng laughed, and took a sip of his wine. Drinking and drinking, it's all in the wine. Gojo Satoru choked. Mr. Lin Feng is trying to get away with drinking, I won't let it go. When we have time, let's go to the dojo and let me get to know you better. Lin Feng could only smile lightly. Ieri Shoko looked at the rather naive behavior of the two men in front of him, and smiled knowingly. Time flies like an arrow, and the sun and the moon fly like a shuttle. It seems that everything has changed, but in fact there are always some things that remain the same. It has always been so beautiful and always has been. Ieri Shoko held his cheeks. Let's talk about business. Gojo Satoru, do you have any clues about the traces of Xiaoyu this time? Gojo Satoru ate a piece of salmon sashimi and said, how should I put it, judging from the traces of the investigation, it is all his information, but after a few days of investigation, there are not many clues. Perhaps only a few people in the same period could make Gojo Satoru go to war in such a big way and return without success. Wow, this salmon sashimi is so fresh. Gojo Satoru picked up a piece for Lin Feng and Ieri Shoko, and then said to the waiter who came by, hi, please have another salmon sashimi here. Ieri Shoko was a little drunk, his eyes blurred, and the topic came to Lin Feng. Mr. Lin Feng, do you want to confess to us? You guys obviously have super strength, but you have been hiding it for so many years, even we are hiding it. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What can I say? Ahem, you've almost eaten, so let's stop here today. Lin Feng wanted to change the subject. I will tell you when I find a suitable time. When I think about how to make it up, I will tell you when I make it up. Okay, then it's decided. 3 rounds of wine, 5 flavors of food. The 3 of them walked out of the izakaya, perhaps because they hadn't been this happy for a long time. Ieri Shoko couldn't walk anymore after drinking. The task of carrying Ieri Shoko back to the high school just fell on Lin Feng's shoulders, and Gojo Satoru called it a small interest in concealment. Mr. Lin Feng, have you come to any judgment? While waiting for the bus on the side of the road, Gojo Satoru asked abruptly. Yes, Lin Feng nodded and said, it seems that your long-standing expectations are about to fail, or you may change your thinking. After all, the current Jujutsu world is really bad. Gojo Satoru agreed. You were right, I have always adopted the softest method, but after a long time, I found that the disease in the Jujutsu world cannot be cured without strong medicine. Having said that, the two looked at each other and smiled. Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru have one thing in common, the common point is to protect the calf. The following few days, the first-year trio regained their vitality one after another, and resumed their days of being trained by the second-year devil. For a period of time, nothing evil happened to Curse. It seemed to have calmed down. But the calmness that is too calm also indicates that the next storm will come one after another without respite. On the side of the playground, Lin Feng was standing under a tree with a blade of grass in his mouth to cool off. In the middle of the playground, pandas were giving special training to Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara. Teacher Lin Feng. A figure sounded from the side. Zenin Maki seemed to have something to say. If Teacher Lin Feng is free recently, I would like to ask Teacher Lin Feng to give me some advice. Maki-san, I'm free. Lin Feng laughed. Any advice is fine. In this day and age, there has long been an imbalance between curse and jujutsu divisions. Negative emotions and resentment can give birth to curse, but a qualified jujutsu teacher cannot be cultivated overnight. Jujutsu is a special profession with 80% talent. Only when one has spells, one can cultivate and use spells, and can fight against curse and get rid of it. If there is no spell, then there is no chance for master jujutsu. But there are also special cases. Zenin Maki is such an example. Born in the Zenin family, one of the big 3 sorcerer families in the jujutsu world, he was born as a heavenly restricted person, with 0 spells and spell power, destined to miss out on being a jujutsu master. Since childhood, Maki has been the most disliked member of the family, and the treatment is similar to that of the servants in the family. No matter who he is, he can ridicule a few words. Parents don't love him, and grandpa doesn't love him. If it wasn't for the Zenin family, I don't know if I can have enough to eat. But even growing up in such a deformed environment, Zenin Maki aspires to become a jujutsu teacher. For this reason, the relationship with the Zenin family broke down to freezing point. Today, Zenin Maki is already a second-year student of Jujutsu High School, but his Jujutsu teacher rating has been stagnant. Behind this is the drag of 0 spells and 0 spell power, and there is also Zenin's family, means. After all, in Zenin, a useless person who is no different from a subordinate, if he becomes a high-level Jujutsu teacher, he will hit the face of the family. The family's face is much more important than a person's. After Zenin Maki got Lin Feng's consent, a gleam of joy appeared on her face. For her, she can learn a lot from being taught by Lin Feng. This is the time when the Jujutsu world is dying. From the 3rd grade to the current 1st grade in Jujutsu High School, they are all taught by Mr. Gojo Satoru and Mr. Lin Feng, of which Mr. Lin Feng usually takes care of more things. After all, Mr. Gojo Satoru is one of the 4 super jujutsu masters, and he is the successor head of the Gojo family of the big 3 sorcerer families. The expectations and burdens on his shoulders are great, and he has to deal with family and super events from time to time. Do not give too much guidance to the students. But Mr. Gojo Satoru is very kind to every student. Mr. Lin Feng, as the class assistant of Mr. Gojo Satoru, has always been the support. If you are undecided, look for Gojo, but Gojo is not looking for Lin Feng. This sentence is not groundless. Teacher Lin Feng, can I ask a question? Zenin Maki spoke. Lin Feng, student Maki, just ask whatever you want. Zenin Maki considered his words. It is rumored that teacher Lin Feng subdued the awakened Ryomen Sukuna in 10 seconds on the day Ryomen Sukuna broke the seal. In the incident at the boys' academy a few days ago, Ryomen Sukuna reappeared. Ryomen Sukuna, who instantly killed the super cursed spirit and swallowed a finger, was still defeated by teacher Lin Feng in 10 seconds. May I ask if teacher Lin Feng's strength has really reached the super level? Lin Feng looked at Zenin Maki and laughed. What rumors? Why don't you just say that Fushiguro Megumi told you? Since the lovely student asked the question, I will answer it. Lin Feng said flatly. The first statement is not accurate. It was when I met Itadori for the first time. He was able to suppress Ryomen Sukuna forcibly. I will give him the answer. 10 seconds to replace. What about the juvenile home incident? This is the truth, Lin Feng said with a glass of authenticity. This time, because Mr. Itadori was in a coma at the time, he couldn't lock Ryomen Sukuna back when he was unconscious, so I beat him for about 10 seconds, and it went back by itself. Invisible cupping is the most deadly, and Lin Feng's cupping has a faint aftertaste. Zenin Maki looked at Lin Feng with a calm face, and made a decision in his heart. Mr. Lin Feng, in the days to come, I will often bother you. It's easy to talk about. Night fell. On the winding mountain road to Jujutsu High School, Aijichi drove honestly, while Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru in the back of the car ate kikufu, a Sendai specialty. The old-timers in the Jujutsu world can't do anything, but they are very keen on taking off their pants. In the juvenile curse incident, the container of Ryomen Sukuna was not resolved as some people intended. Those people simply took advantage of the problem and put the problem on the supervision of the Ryomen Sukuna container. Therefore, by discussing the next disposal of the container, in fact knocked out Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru. Fortunately, when going in, Gojo Satoru gave Lin Feng a pair of headphones with strong noise reduction. He knocked on the whole field and didn't hear anything, so he just nodded and came over. The moon is very round tonight, and the moonlight is also extraordinarily bright. The moonlight swayed on the winding mountain road to add a different kind of night. The car was driving on the expressway, and the surroundings were very quiet. It was so quiet that only the sound of the car could be heard. This kind of quietness was very strange. Gojo Satoru said, Hey, people have 3 urgencies, Mr. Lin Feng, do you have 3 urgencies now? Lin Feng understood instantly. My stomach hurts. Gojo Satoru patted Aijichi on the shoulder. Mr. Aijichi, let's solve the internal emergency in the woods by the roadside, you should go back to the high school first. Ms. Gojo, Mr. Lin Feng, why don't I wait for you for a while? There is still a distance from the college, and it's not easy to take a taxi at this time. Aijichi poked his head out of the car window and said, "It's okay, Mr. Aijichi, you can go back first." Gojo Satoru held Lin Feng's shoulders. "After Mr. Lin Feng and I have resolved our internal emergency, we can walk back by ourselves. The moonlight is beautiful tonight, no worrying about us getting lost." "Oh well." Having said all this, Aijichi stopped insisting, restarted the vehicle, and drove in the direction of Jujutsu High School. A gust of night wind was blowing in the face, and the wind rustled the leaves. Gojo Satoru put his hands in his pockets, and said calmly, "I've been following you for so long, so it's time to come out." As soon as the words fell, a huge rock suddenly rolled down from the hillside above the winding mountain road without warning. The rock rolled down and hit the two people on the road. Boom! The mountain rock fell in the middle of the road, and the huge impact smashed the asphalt road into a depression. With the mountain rock as the center of the circle, a spider web-like indentation spread out. Flying sand and rocks, a figure appeared in front of the road. "Well, unrecorded super class." Gojo Satoru folded his arms and muttered to himself, while Lin Feng on the side directly recognized cursed spirit in front of him. Habao in the shape of a one-eyed crater. As a super cursed spirit with impressive strength, although he is a murderous villain, there is a strong contrast in him. He is a cursed spirit with passion and dreams. Although its dreams can only be imagined. "Who are you?" Gojo Satoru asked indifferently. The answer to Gojo Satoru was a new round of offensive. Lu Hu's speed was so fast that there was no speed track. The next moment, he appeared directly on the side and pushed with both palms. There is a unique muzzle device in the palm. Boom! A series of bangs sounded. Lu Hu's palm muzzle immediately poured out a huge amount of energy shock waves. The shock waves swept across the winding mountain road, and the places it passed turned into scorched earth, and the damaged traces stretched out for 10 miles. The smoke and dust dispersed, and the charred residue was continuously blown by the night wind. Lu Hu saw with her own eyes that the two in front of her were hit by an energy shock wave, and she confidently faced such a shock wave. Even a super jujutsu master would suffer greatly. Lu Hu grinned disdainfully. "Aren't the rumors too exaggerated, and they put people in a position they shouldn't have, Gojo Satoru, that's all. One hit and it hits." However, Lu Hu's complacency didn't last long, and it came to an abrupt end. The scattered smoke and dust were dispersed, and the two figures stood motionless. Gojo Satoru waved his hand to disperse the thick smoke in front of him, chuckled and said, "Who do you think is just like that?" Lu Hu's eyes became a little serious, and he looked at Gojo Satoru and Lin Feng with one eye, and finally returned to Gojo Satoru. The purpose of its trip is to see how strong the legendary Gojo Satoru is. If it is just boasted, then it will be solved by the way. It is only for Gojo Satoru. As for who is the miscellaneous fish beside Gojo Satoru, he has no interest at all. It can be seen that this Mr. Cursed Spirit is looking for me specially. "Mr. Lin Feng, please wait a moment." Lin Feng didn't care. "You can do whatever you want." Only then did Gojo Satoru focus on Leihu. There were very few super jujutsu masters, and there were not many super cursed spirits. Now suddenly came an unregistered super cursed spirit. And it surpasses the current Ryomen Sukuna in strength, which makes Gojo Satoru very interested. "What? Hurt your self-esteem?" Leo Hu mocked. "Everyone says you are the strongest, let me verify it." Gojo Satoru moved his body a bit, hurt pride. "It's nothing like that, I just thought it was fun." "Very funny. There's really no sense of crisis." There was a smile on Lu Hu's face, and the crater above his head spewed out circles of hot air, and among the tumbling hot magma, bugs spit out one by one. "Fire worm." The order was issued, and groups of weird bugs shot towards Gojo Satoru like bullets. Facing the extremely lethal swarm attack, Gojo Satoru unhurriedly raised two fingers. The next moment, when the swarm was about to touch Gojo Satoru, something weird happened. The swarm of insects was suddenly separated by a mysterious energy, passing towards both sides of Gojo Satoru, and directly blasted on the road. The road behind Gojo Satoru was instantly flattened, showing shocking marks, but he himself was unscathed. The sound is the first attack, and the explosion is the second. It is a very clever attack method. Gojo Satoru commented. "Stop pretending over there." Lu Hu descended from the sky, pressed his palm down, and the substantial flame gushing out from his palm directly ignited Gojo Satoru's head. Gojo Satoru's head was set on fire, and Lu Hu succeeded in one blow, and the attack continued. The palm slaps continued to slap other body parts, and every time a part was hit, it would be directly ignited. In an instant, Gojo Satoru was set on fire as a burning man, devoured by the flames without a trace left. After getting rid of Gojo Satoru, Liu Hu's eyes fell on Lin Feng, who gave way. Hey, that miscellaneous fish jujutsu over there, Gojo Satoru has died under my hands, are you frightened already? Don't worry, I'll send you to hell too. Liu Hu, who felt good about herself, started talking trash right away. Lin Feng looked calm. Frightened? Not at all. It doesn't matter. Lu Hu waved her hand and said, you have to die anyway. Just when Lu Hu was about to attack Lin Feng, the familiar chuckle sounded again. Mr. Cursed Spirit, being half-hearted is not a good habit, obviously I am your opponent. What? Lu Hu turned his head and saw Gojo Satoru standing behind him unscathed. What international joke? Lu Hu's one eye was wide open. This is too outrageous, it was clearly hit just now, and there is a touch of the hit, but why is it still unscathed? Gojo Satoru put his hands in his pockets. Mr. Cursed Spirit, you seem to be very puzzled. You can't figure out why I'm safe and sound. Then I'll tell you. Gojo Satoru raised the corner of his mouth, because what you just hit was the afterimage of me leaving, you were deceived by your eyes. What? Lu Hu was surprised. Impossible. Why is the afterimage so real? It's entirely possible. Gojo Satoru slowly approached Lehu. As long as the speed is fast enough, the other is my ability. Since Mr. Cursed Spirit did it, none of the attacks have hit me. Gojo Satoru is worthy of being a teacher, even if Cursed Spirit can't figure it out, he will explain it specially. But this also proves a point, at least Gojo Satoru doesn't care, he doesn't regard Lehu as an enemy at all. Ha! Liu Hu raised his hand in disbelief, and a shock wave blasted at Gojo Satoru. The latter waved his hand lightly, and stopped strangely when the shock wave came in front of him. Mr. Cursed Spirit, you should have no idea of my abilities. As long as I think about it, such an attack will never be able to hit me. After Gojo Satoru finished speaking, shock waves flew out to both sides. You, what do you want? Lu Hu looked at Gojo Satoru, who was approaching suddenly, and became a little nervous. This kind of technique is so weird that people don't know how to respond. Don't worry, I'll explain it to you. Gojo Satoru held out a hand. Mr. Cursed Spirit can reach out and feel it. Lu Hu pondered for a while, then stretched out her hand to fit Gojo Satoru's palm. When the distance between the two palms was about 10 centimeters, Lu Hu only felt stagnation, obviously her hand was not blocked. Gojo Satoru said warmly, it's not blocking, it's the speed difference. When any attack approaches me, the speed will slow down. The closer it gets, the slower it will be. This distance is zero and infinite. As for myself, I can easily change this process. Gojo Satoru grabbed Lehu's hand as soon as he stretched out his hand. For example, I can shake hands with Mr. Cursed Spirit like this. Let me go. Suddenly being grabbed by Gojo Satoru, Lu Hu could only feel boundless trembling and uneasiness rising from the bottom of her heart. Gojo Satoru, you are too despicable. It is too opportunistic to use such a technique to fight. Ah, Gojo Satoru heard such words for the first time. Lu Hu said leisurely, I don't want to fight with you anymore, I want to fight with that guy. As he spoke, Lu Hu pointed at Lin Feng. Not to mention Gojo Satoru, Lin Feng, who was eating melons, couldn't understand this move. Habao, you don't play cards according to common sense. After Lu Hu finished speaking, he carefully observed Gojo Satoru's reaction, but he was extremely panicked inside. It understands a little now, why Sha Yuji said that Gojo Satoru can't be killed, but can only be sealed. Nonsense, ignore so attack, how to fight. Now Leahu just wants to find a breakthrough and capture the miscellaneous fish next to him, Jujutsu, as a hostage, in exchange for a chance to escape from Gojo Satoru's hands. Gojo Satoru stroked his chin and thought for a while. Mr. Cursed Spirit has a point, so let's leave it to Mr. Lin Feng. After the voice fell, Gojo Satoru really stepped aside. The corner of Lin Feng's mouth twitched a few times. Gojo Satoru wanted to observe a wave of his own operations. But that's fine too. It's also good to interact with Habao. Lu Hu couldn't believe her eyes and ears, she just wanted to give it a try, but she succeeded. How stupid. Lu Hu looked at Lin Feng like looking at fish on a chopping board, and the idea of getting out completely was already brewing. Mr. Lin Feng, this Mr. Cursed Spirit is an unrecorded special class, you must take it seriously. Gojo Satoru directly acted as a hands-off shopkeeper, suspended in the air, as if thinking of something, raised his palm lightly, and in the surrounding woods, several big trees were uprooted and then turned horizontally on the road. Although no one will come to this section of the road, it is better to take precautions. Sorry, I will find time to plant 2 trees and go back. Under the moonlight, Lin Feng and Lu Hu stood facing each other. A gust of night wind blows, and the leaves are fluttering. The smile on Lu Hu's face has never disappeared, it has 100 ways, the miscellaneous fish jujutsu in front of the moment, and then let it become a hostage. Master miscellaneous fish jujutsu, let me show you the super combat power. There was a circle of hot air above Lu Hu's head, and fireworms flew out of the magma again. Although the fireworms did not attack Gojo Satoru effectively, it was just because Gojo Satoru's ability was unreasonable, and it did not mean that this move was very effective. Weak. The fireworms formed a swarm and flew towards where Lin Feng was. Each fireworm flapped its wings and could generate high-frequency sound waves. Under the attack of sound waves, even the minds of ordinary jujutsu masters could be affected. The fireworms swept across the sky, and Lin Feng also activated the spell. Water Escape Jujutsu Small Shark Bomb. The full mana power was transformed into mana water through the spell, and the water flowed into the shape of a small shark, roaring and devouring the fire boulder swarm. However, the fire boulder swarm is so unique, after all, it can't escape the category of creatures, and the swarm can only be useless when it encounters water. Idiot, do you think that spraying some water can stop the fireworms? Leo Hu snorted coldly, and said to himself, the fireworms live in my body, often live in thousands of degrees of high-temperature magma, and can swim in the magma, let alone a small stream of water. The shark's water bomb devoured the fireworm, and could only trap it, but did not lose its ability to fly. If the water flow is not enough, how about adding more fire? Lin Feng looked calm, took a deep breath, and exhaled. Fire Escape Jujutsu How Fireball Art. The mantra turned into fire, and the fire spewed out from Lin Feng's mouth, turning into a fireball and crashing down, enveloping the shark's water bomb. It's a weird picture. A huge fireball lights up the night sky, and a shark water bomb is swimming inside the fireball. Water and fire coexist at this moment. Lu Hu's jaw almost fell to the ground. What is this jujutsu? Can actually ignore the natural attributes. Suddenly, Liu Hu suddenly felt that she had misunderstood something. Above the sky, Gojo Satoru's eyes narrowed slightly. As a contemporary, he knew Mr. Lin Feng very well, and he was also familiar with Mr. Lin Feng's spell, elementalization of spell power. But this is the first time Mr. Lin Feng uses the spell in a different way, and it's not his reverse spell, it's the newly developed jujutsu. Mr. Lin Feng, you hide your clumsiness so deeply, I am looking forward to the next one more and more. Lin Feng cooked the fireworm with a jujutsu shark bomb and jujutsu Hao fireball. When the wind blows, the fragrance comes out. Lu Hu's mouth was wide open, and the magma shock wave was pushed out flat. Its power was so powerful that it seemed to burn Lin Feng and the forest behind him. Standing at the center of the shock wave, Lin Feng didn't have the slightest intention of avoiding it. The mantra in the body burned up, turning into blood and energy and transporting it to the limbs and bones. The third door, the injury door, opened. The moment the door was opened, Lin Feng's figure turned into a streamer of light, directly shuttled into the magma shock wave. Yes, not only did not avoid, and went straight up. Boom! Lin Feng passed through the shock wave and came to Lu Hu, and with a shocked expression on his face, he punched her on the mouth. The magma shock wave was interrupted in an instant, and Liu Hu was also punched towards the forest behind him. Lin Feng lunged forward, and landed on Lu Hu with his fists slashing left and right. Gojo Satoru didn't know what the injury was like, but looking at the extent of the damage in the forest, he knew that the injury was not serious. Hey, this seems like a rare teaching opportunity. After Gojo Satoru made up his mind to pay attention, he flew directly back to Jujutsu High School and came to the first-year dormitory. Itadori Yuji's room. Itadori Yuji was dating his eldest cousin in a dream, and suddenly felt his body fly up, and he was still vaguely cold. Well, is this dream so real? Itadori Yuji opened his eyes and found himself in the sky 100 meters above, and he could see the Jujutsu High School building moving away below. Ms. Gojo Satoru. Itadori Yuji watched Gojo Satoru grabbing himself to leave the high school, and couldn't help asking, which one is this? Itadori, this is a rare teaching. Teacher Lin Feng played the teaching of Super Cursed Spirit. Teacher Lin Feng, Super Zhou Ling. If you talk about this, Itadori Yuji will not be sleepy. Chapter 31. In the mountains and forests, there was a mess. There are trees that have been broken by a huge impact everywhere, and on some thicker trees, very clear traces of people can be seen. The trees suffered, and the ground was not much better. A series of shocking deep ravines remained on the ground, from shallow to deep, and the underground rocks were all knocked out. Luhu was beaten all the way, like a rolling gourd, walked through the forest with her body, and then came to a lake. The lake reflects the shimmering moonlight. Luhu, with blue nose and swollen eyes, came to the surface of the lake, and the lake water reflected his face at the moment. Ha! Ha! Luhu panted heavily. The panting was too heavy, and the ribs were still throbbing. It's too outrageous. That jujutsu teacher was like a ghost. He just beat him up and didn't give him a chance to breathe. The super physique that human missiles can't break through the defense, just got punched like this. Lin Feng's slender figure appeared on the other side of the lake. His upper body was broken, revealing an incomparably muscular upper body. The muscle lines concealed endless strength, and the body proportions were also perfect. From the fight with Luhu to now, he lost a piece of clothing. It wasn't that he was successfully attacked by Luhu, but the clothes on his body couldn't withstand the released energy and collapsed. As for the quality of the pants, it's pretty good. Who the hell are you? Liu Hu asked. Lin Feng responded. Lin Feng, a teacher of Jujutsu High School, a prospective first-level Jujutsu teacher. After declaring her home, Luhu never closed her mouth again. Is this a lie? The quasi-level Jujutsu master saw me, and if he ran too fast, he would become a dead soul of his subordinates, but he told me that he beat me like a grandson. Is he a quasi-level 1? Luhu got a little angry. You humans are full of lies. You are obviously a super jujutsu master. Lin Feng said solemnly. No, I'm really a quasi-level 1. If my coat wasn't torn, I could show you my certificate. Shut up. Luhu's mentality collapsed. It is absolutely impossible to believe Lin Feng's nonsense. This guy is undoubtedly super. Wait, you said your name is Lin Feng. Luhu suddenly remembered what Sha Yuji said that day when talking about planning and deployment. Except for Gojo Satoru, if you meet Lin Feng, remember to ask him. Lin Feng, someone asked me to say hello to you. As soon as the words fell, the lake water at Luhu's feet became turbulent, and in an instant, the lake surface fluctuated. Next, let's decide the outcome. Liu Hu decided to give it a go and expand the domain. Mr. Cursed Spirit, please wait. Just when Luhu was about to expand the domain, a familiar voice sounded. Gojo Satoru landed on the lake from the sky, and brought a dazed kid with him. The container of Ryomen Sukuna. Liu saw the identity of Itadori Yuji at a glance. After all, cursed spirits plan to counterattack the Jujutsu world. Contacting Ryomen Sukuna, and wooing them is a very important link, so privately, the information about Ryomen Sukuna's container is in Cursed Spirit is no stranger. Gojo Satoru apologized. I'm sorry to interrupt your battle, but I think it's a pity that there are no audiences for such a battle scene. So I brought this little guy. We are the teacher of this little guy, and we are teaching him a series of things. Mr. Cursed Spirit, don't you mind? What? Listening to Gojo Satoru's words, Luhu felt that ignorance was on fire. What does it mean? Is the battle with oneself a material for students to observe? Or you just a sparring role? For a moment, Luhu couldn't bear it anymore. The crater above the head is erupting with magma, and the ears on both sides are also erupting with magma. The magma is erupting in 3 directions, and the lake water seems to be boiling. Don't underestimate me. Domain expansion. Luhu yelled angrily, and made seals with both hands. The spell power all over his body surged out, and the ink-like field encompassed the entire lake. Wow, what is this? Itadori Yuji saw domain expansion for the first time. Comprehension unfolding. the techniques mastered by Master Jujutsu and the senior cursed spirit, release the realm of birth, and use your own magic power to build comprehension. What you met in the youth academy in the first grade is not the realm of birth. Itadori Yuji nodded and looked at the changes around him. The lake surface had been completely replaced. In his field of vision, volcanic rocks were formed, and magma was scattered in the crevices of the rocks. Good. So strong. Itadori Yuji couldn't help blurting out that he was stronger than all the cursed spirits he had encountered, and even the Ryomen Sukuna in his body might not be as good as the cursed spirit in front of him now. Don't worry. Gojo Satoru patted Itadori Yuji on the shoulder. We just need to squat behind teacher Lin Feng. It should be fine. After all, Mr. Cursed Spirit is very weak. Lin Feng turned his head, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. I said, Wu, although what you said is correct, but you are not fighting, can you not be so rhythmic? Don't underestimate me. Unforgivable. Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru talked and laughed with a relaxed style of painting. This scene completely stings Liu Hu. It is not clear whether Gojo Satoru's self-esteem was damaged before, but at this moment, Liu Hu's own self-esteem is shattered. Field. Cover the coffin and iron the mountain. Liu Hu's furious voice fell heavily, and the spell power in the domain became stronger again. The ground was torn apart, magma surged, and the boundaries of the domain and the barriers of the dome also rose to a terrifying temperature, as if everything in the domain was going to be incinerated. The frenzied air flow spread out from the center of the circle, flying sand and rocks, making the clothes on people rattle. Itadori Yuji is speechless. Mr. Gojo Satoru said that the cursed spirit in front of him is weak. Obviously strong enough to die. Die. Liu Hu raised her hands above her head and made a bottom-up lifting posture. In an instant, the field shook, and a giant stone ball rose up from the place soaked in magma. The stone ball slowly lifted into the air. The surface was covered with dense lines, magma dripped from the lines, and the shocking temperature brought by the surface of the dark red stone ball caused thermal lines to appear in the air. Like an extraterrestrial meteorite, hanging above his head. A strong blow. Gojo Satoru commented, then looked at Lin Feng in front of him. Mr. Lin Feng, are you going to expand the domain? Expand the field. That kind of thing is unnecessary. Lin Feng was as steady as an old dog, his expression didn't change. It seemed that it was not me who needed to take the blow. Oh, the corner of Gojo Satoru's mouth curled up, his appetite was really whetted. If you want to take this attack yourself, the easiest way is to use the infinite space to instantly kill the special grade cursed spirit. If you don't open the domain, you can still take it, but it will be a little troublesome. But the ease with which Gojo Satoru is doing it shouldn't be taken for granted. Gojo Satoru is the ceiling of the Jujutsu world and does not have any reference value. In the eyes of Gojo Satoru, if Lin Feng can take this blow safely, then the rumors about his super combat power will be completely confirmed. Mr. Lin Feng, you really have many surprises that I don't know about. Liu Hu poured all her strength into the blow, and when the outside the sky meteorite fell, everyone in the field couldn't bear it. Master Jujutsu, become ashes with this blow. Liu Hu laughed wildly. That means finally fighting within a second. Lin Feng untied the Zanpakuto and divine spear from his waist. Itadori Yuji saw this, although it was the first time he saw teacher Lin Feng's weapon, but for some reason, it felt a little familiar, and his wrist hurt a little. I haven't seen that cursed tool before. When did Mr. Lin Feng use the cursed tool? Lin Feng held the Zanpakuto divine spear, and simply swung his sword at the meteorite. Shoot him, sharpshooter. Call out. At the moment when Shi Jiu fell, the spell power all over Lin Feng's body exploded impressively. And the short blade in his hand suddenly extended out at this moment. The sharp tip of the knife shone with a cold light. In an instant, it spanned more than 10 meters and flew directly in front of the meteorite outside the sky. Boom! The meteorite that fell from the sky was instantly penetrated by the tip of the knife, and it was directly cut open. At the moment of cutting, the tip of the knife kept hitting Liu Hu's face. Pooh! Blood splattered, and Liu Hu's expression froze instantly. Liu Hu's crater-shaped head was cut off like this and rested on the blade. At the next moment, the extremely long blade of the sharpshooter shrank back, and finally returned to Lin Feng's hands. As if nothing had happened, Lin Feng grabbed Liu Hu's head with one hand, and the domain began to slowly collapse. Finally returned to the lake. Clap clap. There was a burst of crisp applause. Gojo Satoru and Itadori Yuji walked over applauding, and the former turned around in circles. That's great, Mr. Lin Feng, your strength really makes me so happy. Teacher Lin Feng, super strong. Itadori Yuji also blew a wave of rainbow farts. It is obviously a movie of 4 people, but Hubao can never have a name. As a special grade cursed spirit, Luhu has extremely strong vitality, even if its head is cut off, it will not die. At this moment, Luhu is like a chamber pot that has lost its dream. Gojo Satoru's eyes fell on Luhu's head. Mr. Lin Feng, leave the interrogation work to me. Without further ado, Lin Feng threw Luhu's head to Gojo Satoru. The 3 came to the shore from the lake. Gojo Satoru's size 42 shoes stepped on Luhu's head and changed its shape. Mr. Cursed Spirit, as a special level it is impossible to ambush us casually. Tell me, who is behind the scenes, or I will kill you. Luhu's heart was ashamed. At this moment, a familiar feeling of warmth came. The next moment, the grass on the bank was instantly covered with a sea of flowers. When Huahai appeared, Gojo Satoru directly pulled Lin Feng and Itadori Yuji in circles, and in this neutral position, Luhu's head also disappeared. The sea of flowers blooms quickly, and decays even faster. When the 3 people reacted, Luhu had already been rescued. The smile on Gojo Satoru's face faded, and he said meaningfully, another unrecorded super cursed spirit, hey, it's really getting more and more uneven recently. Lin Feng patted Itadori Yuji's face, and the latter pulled away from Hanayu's mental illusion, looking left and right. Mr. Lin Feng, Mr. Gojo Satoru, where is that cursed spirit just now? And I feel it is a relaxing feeling to be in the sea of flowers. Where is the sea of flowers? That cursed spirit has been rescued by his companions, and the Huahai you saw is the one that rescued that cursed spirit. Lin Feng explained briefly. Although he is clear about the brainy 5 in the dark, he won't reveal it. There is no other reason. The improvement of my combat power alone has attracted the attention of many people, especially since I saved Itadori Yuji. Until now, a series of actions, presumably the high-level people in the Jujutsu world have already paid attention to me. What should be done now is to temporarily hide the front. What's more, he didn't even make up the reasons for prevaricating Gojo Satoru and Ieri Shoko. If he throws out a lot of information in a spoiler style and muddies the water, not only will it not do any good, but it will also disrupt his rhythm deployment. The loss outweighs the gain. Mr. Lin Feng, I think I'm busy again, so this special cursed spirit's blocking report. Write yours, Lin Feng said without hesitation. Just submit it in your name. Itadori Yuji scratched the back of his head. Mr. Lin Feng, you obviously defeated the super cursed spirit, why did you report in the name of Mr. Gojo Satoru? The innocent and innocent young man never hides anything in his heart, and always asks when he doesn't understand. Gojo Satoru laughed and said, Student Itadori, you are on the right track. In fact, this is not the first time Mr. Lin Feng has done this. If I were not his partner, I would also like to ask why. Reason. The reason is that you don't care. Blocking cursed spirit and killing cursed spirit are all important factors for the upgrade of Jujutsu Master's rating. The higher the level of Jujutsu Master, the better the resources and treatment they can enjoy. But in contrast, this is also an act of shackling oneself. Following the unchanging rules of the Jujutsu world for thousands of years, the more dazzling you are, the more things you have to shoulder, and you have to be constrained by a pool of stinky power. Lin Feng was not interested in such an approach. To be precise, the pedantry of the Jujutsu upper class doesn't deserve it. The way is different, so naturally we don't conspire with each other. Get as far away as you can. After all, who made himself not belong to any family at birth, but a lone wolf? Of course, Lin Feng would not say these words. Lin Feng looked at Itadori Yuji, who suddenly trembled, as if he felt something bad was about to happen. Student Itadori, you have so many questions, it must be that your cultivation is not saturated enough. I will give you another suitable training plan. After Itadori Yuji heard the words, his painting style changed sharply, as if he had no love in his life. Gojo Satoru chuckled beside him. He also didn't know the reason why Lin Feng did this, but Lin Feng didn't want to say more, so he wouldn't ask more. It was a dark and windy night. Some people are happy and some are sad. On a certain cliff, Xiaoyuji admired the bright moonlight. The leaves rustled among the trees. The figure of Hua Yu came out, holding the head of the clepsydra in his hands. Xiaoyuji said lightly, Leihu, it seems that you have already got the answer you want. How about Gojo Satoru? Lu Hu's face was extremely ugly. I was not beaten like this by Gojo Satoru. Xiaoyuji suddenly became interested. You were not hurt by Gojo Satoru, it was Lin Feng. When the name was uttered, Lu Hu was still frightened. I lost completely, I was beaten from the beginning to the end. In this way, Liu Hu narrated the whole process of the ambush. Xiaoyuji thought for a while after hearing the words, and said, the cursed tool that can be stretched and contracted freely. I don't think I've heard of it. According to what Lu Hu said, Lin Feng cut off Lu Hu's strongest blow with one knife in the iron-enclosed mountains of the domain, and even chopped off his head. This kind of combat power has already exceeded the scope of cursed tool. After all, the cursed tool is only used as an auxiliary combat tool. Interesting, it seems that there is still a slight mistake in my deduction. Xiaoyuji quickly replied with a smile. It's really getting more and more interesting, I'm looking forward to it. Liu Hu asked the question of the soul. Xiaoyu, is there a second special grade cursed object prison gate? It was a figure from behind who answered Lu Hu. Xiaoyuji waved his hand, and a portal appeared in front of him. Let's go home first. Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School. The scorching sun was like fire, and Itadori Yuji, who had completed a set of training under the scorching sun, came to the shade of the tree at half-time. Itadori, you are here, come on, I have something nice for you. Itadori-san, come here, I have something nice for you. A voice came from behind. Itadori Yuji turned around and saw Lin Feng walking over slowly carrying an iron box, with a warm smile on his face. For some reason, Itadori Yuji felt a deep chill. Mr. Lin Feng, what's in the box? Itadori Yuji was a little nervous and regretted so much, so why did he break the casserole and ask the end? No more food now. You'll know when you open it and take a look. Lin Feng looked at Itadori Yuji's expression and couldn't help laughing out loud. The way Itadori Yuji cringes at the moment is really funny, but he's still thinking too much himself. It is true to add practice items to him, and it is not necessary to teach him a lesson to establish his prestige. Lin Feng's bland expression, in Itadori Yuji's eyes, has another meaning. Oh, let's die, Itadori Yuji thought in his heart, and with a desperate heart, he stretched out his hand to take the iron box in Lin Feng's hand. The next moment, an extremely powerful weight was pressed on his hand. Wow, Itadori Yuji felt that what he took over was not an iron box, but a huge boulder. The weight was on his hands, and the box fell to the ground in a free fall. Itadori Yuji tried his best to stop the falling momentum of the box, and the moment the box was about to hit the ground, Itadori Yuji quickly let go, and the iron box hit the ground directly, leaving a big hole in the ground. Standing beside him, he felt a vibration. Gulu. Itadori Yuji swallowed. The weight was beyond imagination. What exactly is the box? Mr. Lin Feng, I have deeply realized my mistake. I shouldn't be a curious baby asking so much. I won't do it in the future, I swear. Itadori Yuji gave up. Lin Feng hummed. So you should open the box. Itadori Yuji felt distressed, took a deep breath, and calmed down, then reached out and opened the connecting buckle on the iron box. The buckle was broken, and the box cover popped open. 2 sets of weighted lead weights lay quietly in the box. Teacher Lin Feng, this is cursed tool weight-bearing lead weight. Lin Feng said. Cursed tool crafted, infused with magic power into weight, specially used for your weight-bearing practice, try it quickly. Itadori Yuji looked at the weight-bearing lead weight, his face was full of embarrassment. Mr. Lin Feng, is the weight too exaggerated? I can't even lift it. How can I practice with it on? Actually, it's okay. When you first picked up the box, you were bearing the weight of 2 sets of weight-bearing lead weights. But after you put it on, the weight will be distributed on your limbs, so it will be lighter. After hearing the words, Itadori Yuji tied the weight-bearing weights to his hands and feet one by one. It was similar to what Lin Feng said, and the weight was indeed differentiated. Itadori Yuji got up and wanted to walk around, but he couldn't move until he died of laughter. He could be said to have realized what it is like to be full of lead under his feet. Lin Feng patted Itadori Yuji on the shoulder. Student Itadori, I believe you can do it. When you can treat the lead weight as nothing, your strength will increase a lot. Come on. Yes, Teacher Lin Feng, I will. A wave of chicken blood was hit, and Itadori Yuji ignited directly. After sending warmth to Itadori Yuji, Lin Feng approached Fushiguro Megumi again. As a teacher, it is natural to be exposed to both rain and dew. Fuhei, I have something for you. Lin Feng called Fushiguro Megumi aside and handed over a long box. Fushiguro Megumi took the box and opened it, and there was a tachi with a cold glow lying in the box. Mr. Lin Feng, this is. Fushiguro Megumi could tell at a glance that it was a high-quality cursed tool Teidao. Cursed tool is also divided into quality. The higher the quality of the cursed tool, the greater the increase it can bring to the jujutsu teacher. But relatively, high-quality cursed tool is not so easy to get. This is a knife for you. Your melee ability is still very weak. I have made a plan with Mr. Gojo Satoru. Combined with your technique, it is unrealistic for you to be like Itadori. It's better to specialize in cursed tool, but there are so many styles of cursed tool, it's better to be proficient than to learn more, so you should practice Teidao to specialize. Cherish it. The creation of this Teidao was made by Mr. Gojo Satoru with a lot of human kindness. I will. Fushiguro Megumi didn't talk much, but he really felt the good intentions of the teachers. When I took over the cursed tool Teidao, there was a warm feeling in my hand, which is a feeling of fit. Fushiguro Megumi turned and left to find Zenin Maki, and proposed the idea of concentrating on practicing knives. The latter affirmed it and said that he could give advice at any time. It's 1:30. Lin Feng looked at the ceiling, then sat up straight. It seems that I can sign in again. System, can the panel display data? Lin Feng suddenly thought of something. In web novels, most cheat systems can display panel data, and thus record the protagonist's stage-by-stage growth in detail. The God-level sign-in system is running. Host, Lin Feng. Rating, Quasi-Level 1 Jujutsu Master. Spell, Reversal Spell. Mana Elementalization undeveloped. Physical Technique, 8 Gates of Dunjia. Weapon, Zanpakudo Sharp Spear. Special, Mana Full State. The system is responsive and lists the current data directly. Lin Feng looked at his panel data, and smiled with satisfaction. I never thought I'd be so strong, so let's get stronger. System, Daily Check-in. Lin Feng called out. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the breathing method of thunder. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 31 red cannon of breaking the way. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the lotus flower cultivation method. Congratulations to the host for getting the Navy 6 style shave. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Navy 6 style moonwalk. A series of system notification sounds fell, and the accumulated 5 sign-ins instantly reset to 0, followed by 5 very good rewards. Lin Feng glanced at the rewards. Although it is not as good as the 8 Dunjia techniques and the Zanpakudo Shengen, it is still a skill that can greatly increase combat power. The breathing method of thunder, the breathing method of Naruju my wife Zenitsu in the world of Ghost Slayer, the way of sword in a flash of thunder combined with the Zanpakudo and the sharp gun are enough to produce a wonderful chemical reaction. The 31 red artillery cannon is a commonly used panacea attack method in the world of Reaper. Biao Lianhua, in the world of Naruto, Maidokai's tyrannical physical skills have been handed down. Navy 6 style shaving and moon steps, in the world of pirates, physical skills beyond the limits of the human body. It's really good, these rewards are really good. Lin Feng fell asleep in a good mood. And, on a sunny beach somewhere in Japan. Under the beach umbrella, Shayuji was lying on a deck chair, holding a coconut in his hand, and the coconut juice was very sweet when he inhaled it. Beside Shayuji, a long-haired man with sutures all over his face was reading a magazine, laughing profusely from time to time. The seagull hovered above his head, unwilling to leave for a long time, and finally landed in Yu's hands. I didn't say that, this body is really hard to use. At this time, a figure came out from the sea water. It was Luhu who had reshaped her body. In the ambush of Gojo Satoru, it was decapitated with a knife, and Hanayu just got back the head, but the body stayed at the bottom of the lake forever. Thanks to being a special grade cursed spirit with strong vitality, and with the help of Hua Yu, Lu Hu's body was quickly reshaped, but after all, it was still not as easy to use as the original product. Lehu, you can be content. After all, not every cursed spirit can survive Gojo Satoru. The real person closed the magazine and teased. Real man, what do you mean? I'm sorry, did you mention your sore spot? The real person said sorry, and the ridicule on his face didn't stop. Shayuji put down the coconut, and said in a calm tone, can't you not stop arguing, it's a rare leisure time, noisy. The real person stuck out his tongue. Shayu, I've almost had a rest, then you guys continue. Really, where are you going? Hannah asked in a unique language. The real person stretched a bit. After resting for so long, the body will be rusted, so it is natural to move around. Don't worry about me, I won't face Gojo Satoru, and I won't get my head chopped off. Junrin is worthy of being a cursed spirit born of malice, full of malice, every word is like a knife, flying on Lu Hu's body. Lu Hu gritted her black teeth, then I hope you come back alive. Renovated old movie theater. Earthworm 3 inches is currently in theaters. Since there are not many people watching movies in this cinema, there is no rush for tickets at all. In the auditorium, a movie is playing. A few unscrupulous teenagers in school uniforms in the front row didn't pay attention to the movie at all. In the empty auditorium, their chatting echoed, faintly overwhelming the soundtrack of the movie. What happened to Yoshino Junpei's maggot? He actually learned to resist. Who said it wasn't? Several times I tried to block him, but he was very keenly escaped. It's really annoying. The garbage maggots dare to disobey us. No, I have to block him once. How is it blocked? It's not easy to start at school. Could it be possible to go near his house? Yes, just go to his house. I will beat him into a pig's head. Yes, just hit him. The unscrupulous teenagers hit it off immediately, and while making noise, they didn't notice a figure appearing behind them at all. I said, it's not a good habit to watch movies so noisy. The real person patted the bad boy's shoulders from behind his seat, and the next moment, the bodies of the bad boy swelled up, and then they became strange shapes. Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School. The weather is as hot as ever. When there is no curse removal task, Master Jujutsu usually stays in the high school to practice. Of course, there is also a certain amount of leisure time to go out, depending on personal scheduling and arrangements. Huh, are you kidding me? Is there no taste I like? During the intermission of practice, Fushiguro Megumi and Kugasaki Nobara came to the vending machine in the high school to buy drinks. Besides their own, they also helped the second graders. Kugasaki Nobara walked around in front of several vending machines, very dissatisfied. Can't Gaozuan put 2 more vending machines, more flavors and choices? It's good to have something to drink. Fushiguro Megumi took a sip of the marble soda. The high school is no different from an ordinary school. Those are the things that can be put in and sold. Liao Shengqi has none. I don't want to practice, I want to go shopping. Kugasaki Nobara complained a few words, and then bought some sodas with coins. She decided that after today's practice, she would go out for a meal. Just when Fushiguro Megumi and Kugasaki Nobara were carrying a bag of soda and were about to return to the playground, they turned around and saw a man and a woman walking towards them. Both of them had new faces. The man's figure was tall and strong, and even the largest uniform couldn't cover up his muscles that were full of explosions. The woman is very graceful, and when she walks, her waist swings, showing a variety of styles. Senior Zenin, why are you here? Fushiguro Megumi looked at Zenin Mai, said hello, and said, Zenin, I just said that the atmosphere is very close. Are you sisters with Maki-senpai? Kugasaki Nobara asked. Twin. Classmate Fuhei, if you call me that, it's not easy to distinguish from Maki. Zenin Mai is very concerned about the name. You can just call me Mai. Are these 2 people replacing Akatsu in the 3rd grade? Todo Aoi raised his chin slightly, tilted his head, and his brows were full of disdain. In his eyes, the 2 in front of him were really weak and pitiful. Zenin Mai smiled and said, Todo, maybe you don't understand, but these 2 are indeed students of teacher Gojo Satoru. In addition to them, there is also a container. When Zenin Mai said this, his tone became playful. That's not very accurate. After all, how can a container be compared with Master Jujutsu? Fukuro, the container of Ryomen Sukuna is strictly a half-curse filthy person, I'm really sorry to put him with you. It has to be said that Zenin Maki's ability to pull hatred is top-notch. Fushiguro Megumi frowned. Senior Zenin, what exactly are you trying to say? Did I not express myself clearly enough? From the beginning to the end, the fate of the Ryomen Sukuna container is extremely certain, that is, it must be resolved unswervingly, and now he is saved, only because this filthy person has a little use value. Once all of Ryomen Sukuna's fingers are collected, the undisputed death sentence awaits him. It is rude of me to count such dirty people as your companions, and I apologize. Fushiguro Megumi and Kugasaki Nobara's complexions turned dark instantly. It's really unpleasant for this woman to belittle Itadori Yuji as soon as she came up. My, don't talk about these things. Todo Aoi took over the conversation and said, let's talk about the business. I don't agree with the next exchange meeting between the two schools, if this kind of thing replaces Akatsu in the 3rd grade, so I have to try it myself to see if they are qualified. Todo Aoi tore the purple t-shirt as he spoke, exposing his extremely burly explosive muscles, as if a tiger was about to come out of its cage. Fuhei, I've changed my mind. This woman doesn't match the atmosphere of Maki-senpai at all. Maki-senpai is infinitely better than her. Kugasaki Nobara's eyes were filled with disgust. Fushiguro Megumi looked at Todo Aoi with a cold face, ready to strike at any time. I refuse, why should I fight with the guy the first met for the first time? You seem to have misunderstood something. Todo Aoi moved his joints and crackled. I'm not asking for your opinion, but simply informing you, that's all. Your name seems to be Fushiguro Megumi. Todo Aoi paused for a moment, then shouted, what kind of woman do you like? Your answer will determine the extent of my attack. Quickly answer, any type is fine, even men. Of course, people who are not interested in women are the most boring. I hate boring men, Todo Aoi said slowly. I like big women with big PG, how about you? This unprecedented question directly made Fushiguro Megumi completely incapable. What type of woman does Fuhei like? This question is really difficult for him, a sullen man. Kugasaki Nobara complained mercilessly. Please shut up. Fushiguro Megumi was in a bad mood. The situation is already very inexplicable, so don't make it darker. Kyoto Prefectural Jujutsu High School, 3rd grade, Todo Aoi. Todo Aoi said in a deep voice, after introducing myself, we are friends now. So answer me quickly, what type of woman do you like? Fushiguro Megumi said in desperation. As long as that person has firm humanity, I will not force anything else. PFF'd. Zenin Mai couldn't help laughing out loud. Student Fuhei, it's really your answer. Kugasaki Nobara nodded. That's a good answer. If you say that you like Juru, I will kill you. Kujizaki-san, it's about this time, let's get serious. Sure enough, 2 lines of tears rolled down Todo Aoi's cheeks, his expression changed from expectation to disappointment, and then to anger. Fushiguro Megumi, as expected, a man like you is so boring. As soon as the words fell, Todo Aoi launched an offensive directly. He came running in strides, and punched Fushiguro Megumi's face with a punch. Kugasaki Nobara on the side was dumbfounded, she couldn't see the big guy's movements clearly. Fushiguro Megumi's pupils shrank, with such fast speed and strength, he immediately set up a defensive posture, trying to block the punch. Todo Aoi lunged forward, and when he was about to hit Fushiguro Megumi with a punch, he suddenly withdrew his punch and locked Fushiguro Megumi with the crook of his other arm, throwing him flying. Fushiguro Megumi was thrown and rolled on the ground, leaving traces. Todo Aoi flexed his wrist and glanced at the stunned Kugasaki Nobara. Don't worry, I won't do anything to women. Fuhei. Kugasaki Nobara was about to walk in the direction of Fushiguro Megumi when Zenin Mai appeared behind him the next moment, with the barrel of a revolver resting on Kugasaki Nobara's waist. Let's leave the battle between men to men, but we need to get to know each other better. Zenin Mai said. You kid in the 1st grade, just now you said that I am not as good as her, and you really can't speak, so let me teach you. Let me teach you how to talk to seniors. In the courtyard, Fushiguro Megumi stood up from the ground, very embarrassed, with varying degrees of scratches on his face, corners of his mouth, and palms, which was enough to see how huge the force of the throw just now was. I knew it the first time I saw you. Todo Aoi walked to the courtyard step by step. This guy is really boring. However, it's wrong to judge people by their appearance, so I asked specifically. Unexpectedly, you trampled on my tenderness. Todo Aoi wiped away tears as he spoke. Fushiguro Megumi lost his facial expression management, and his face was stunned. I was the one who was the loser. Why are you still crying? Hey, you're that Todo, right? In the night walk of the 100 ghosts, you single-handedly wiped out 5 first-level cursed spirits, 1 super-level cursed spirit, and Todo of countless low-level cursed spirits. I heard you don't use spells. In the blow just now, Fushiguro Megumi understood the fact that Todo Aoi's body art is extremely strong, and it would be even more unimaginable if he used art, so he wanted to increase his winning rate. It is necessary to gag his mouth so that he does not use the spell. Todo Aoi said. Not necessarily, if it is a special level cursed spirit, I will still use the spell. Speaking of this, don't worry, although I think you're boring, you're not a cursed spirit after all, so I won't beat you to death, and as for spells, I won't use them either. Then I'm really relieved. After Fushiguro Megumi finished speaking, he folded his hands into a Shikigami hand shape. Shao plus Toad, I don't know the bottom of the well. The shadow Shikigami was summoned, the crow flew high and hovered in the air, and several shrimp membranes hugged Fushiguro Megumi's arms and thighs. Just when Fushiguro Megumi locked his eyes on Todo Aoi and was formulating a battle strategy in his mind, the latter disappeared from the field of vision, came behind him in an instant, hugged his waist, and gave Fushiguro Megumi a back with the gesture of pulling a weeping willow fall. Boom! Fushiguro Megumi grabbed the floor with his head, blood pouring down his face. Without the slightest chance to breathe or react, Fushiguro Megumi was blasted away by Todo Aoi's successive punches. Speed, power, incredible. Fushiguro Megumi wanted to defend, but he couldn't even defend, so he could only be beaten passively. Fushiguro Megumi, are you on this level? Among the ruins, Fushiguro Megumi stood up with his head covered in blood. It just made you feel proud of 2 moves. Fushiguro Megumi said, and even directly lifted the Shikigami summons of the grenades and shrimp membranes. The clay figurines are still bloody. Fushiguro Megumi became bloody immediately, and saw a cursed tool dagger being pulled out while the mana power surged all over his body. Fushiguro Megumi held the cursed tool Tachi, and his aura became sharper. Since Mr. Lin Feng gave the sword to him, he has consulted Zenin Maki a lot. For a period of time, he never left the sword in his daily practice, and devoted himself to the practice of the Teidao with all his heart. Now is the time to show the results. Todo Aoi sensed the change in Fushiguro Megumi's momentum, and couldn't help being interested. He waved at Fushiguro Megumi. Should you be serious, this is right, if you are too weak, I will be very sad. After the words fell, Todo Aoi launched a new round of offensive again, swung out a heavy fist, and the fist that pierced the air directly blocked all the escape routes of Fushiguro Megumi. Rub! Fushiguro Megumi drew his sword out of its sheath and went straight to meet him. Between the blade and fist shadow, the blade first slashed towards Todo Aoi at a faster speed. When the blade was about to fall, Fushiguro Megumi flipped his wrist and fell with the back of the blade. Todo Aoi clasped his hands to cover his chest, the back of the knife hit his arm and pushed it out. Todo Aoi glanced at the slight scratch on his arm, and asked in confusion, why did you turn the blade into the back? Fushiguro Megumi held a knife in one hand and looked directly at Todo Aoi. You are not an enemy, but a jujutsu teacher, so you don't need to be ready to kill. Similarly, you just kept your hand when you hit Todo Sr. The back of the knife is just right. Tisk, you are really boring. Todo Aoi said, but although you are boring, you still have a good temper, I like it. Ha. Ha. Fushiguro Megumi gasped heavily. Do you want to continue? Do you want to continue? Although it's a bit odd that the words came from Fushiguro Megumi's mouth, he said them anyway. Since it is a duel, the opponent must continue to fight unless he falls down and loses consciousness. Todo Aoi looked at Fushiguro Megumi for a long time, then scratched the back of his head. Well, although it's okay to continue fighting, but you kid made me interested, especially the knife and knife skills. From this point of view, this year's exchange meeting will be interesting. After speaking, Todo Aoi turned around and was about to leave. Stop. At this time, a special voice sounded. The dog roll thorn appeared in front of Fushiguro Megumi. Without saying a word, he directly cast the spell. The spell was released, and Todo Aoi froze. Todo Aoi. A round figure jumped down from a high place, came to Todo Aoi, and directly punched a broken face punch. At the same time that Poyon punched Todo Aoi, the effect of the curse was lifted, and Todo Aoi staggered back a few steps, nosebleed wildly. Yo, long time no see, Panda. Panda and Inamaki Toge were very protective and kept Fushiguro Megumi behind. Todo, this is not your Kyoto courtyard, so don't mess around. It's not that serious. Todo Aoi waved his hand. I just said hello to the first graders of the Tokyo Academy in a friendly way. Greeting. You beat people like this when you greeted them. Wooden fish flower. Fushiguro Megumi put away the cursed tool Teidao and patted the panda. Senior Panda, I'm fine, maybe there is something wrong with Kizuki-san. The other side. The battle between the two women is divided. Kugasaki Nobara fell to the ground weakly. Zenonmai didn't release water, and didn't give too heavy a hand. Little sister, as a loser, don't look at me like this, or I won't be able to help but shoot you in the head. Kugasaki Nobara said unconvinced. The people in the Kyoto Institute are just like this. You are far behind Maki, but you entered the Curse Institute some time earlier. How can you be proud of it? It won't be long before I will rub you on the ground. Zenonmai played with the revolver. Your mouth is still really eloquent. Zenonmaki, you are not allowed to mess around in Tokyo Yard. The panda's voice came over, and the arms were wrapped around them, and the pressure was extremely strong. Yeah. Zenonmai put away the gun, and gave Kugasaki Nobara a meaningful look. See you at the exchange meeting. After Todo Aoi and Zenonmai left, Panda and Inamaki Toge helped Fushiguro Megumi and Kugasaki Nobara bandage up when they were injured. Yae still hasn't arrived yet. There is not much time left for me, an old man. At the meeting on the eve of the exchange meeting between the two colleges, the president of the Kyoto school, Gakuganji, was sitting on a wicker chair very lonely, and the student Miwa Kasumi was standing at the door to accompany the reception. Wow. At this time, the wooden sliding door was pushed open from the outside, and two slender figures walked in. The leader was Gojo Satoru with a smile on his face, and Lin Feng who came with him. The two of them took their seats without looking at each other, and raised their legs at the same time. Gojo Satoru cut to the chase and said, Old man, long time no see. Gojo Satoru. And Lin Feng. Principal Gakuganji said. The meeting before the exchange meeting was discussed by the principals of the two schools, and it is not your turn. Principal Yae won't be coming for the time being, because I told him the fake meeting time. Gojo Satoru crossed Erlang's legs, leisurely propped his face with one hand, and said to Miwa Kasumi at the door, Hey, students from the Kyoto Institute, maybe you can prepare some drinks for us. This place is really hard to find. Thirsty. No problem. What would Mr. Gojo Satoru want to drink? Miwa Kasumi nodded like a pounding garlic, and twinkled his eyes. In the entire Jujutsu world, Gojo Satoru's reputation and popularity are no. 1. He is not only the object of worship of many young Jujutsu masters, but also the dream of many girls. Among them, Miwa Kasumi admires Gojo Satoru very much. He is handsome and powerful. The most important thing is that Mr. Gojo Satoru, who is a super Jujutsu teacher, can get a very high Jujutsu teacher allowance every time he removes a super cursed spirit. Numbers, handsome, powerful and rich, amazing. Mr. Lin Feng, how about some coffee? Can. Gojo Satoru turned to look at Miwa Kasumi. 2 cappuccinos, add sugar. Principal Gakuganji leaned forward slightly, leaning on a cane with both hands, and didn't know whether to say something or not. It's becoming more and more irregular. The meeting before the exchange meeting between the two schools dared to do such nonsense. Principal Gakuganji wants to teach Gojo Satoru a lesson, but think about its strength and influence that can influence the structure of the Jujutsu world, as well as the Gojo family behind it. Think about it or forget it. Oh, Gojo Satoru, you picked a time for the meeting to call me, maybe it's just for coffee. Of course not. Gojo Satoru waved his hand and said, if it's just for coffee, I can be with my lovely student or Mr. Lin Feng, and I don't need to look for your old man. I came today just to express my thanks. Thanks to your care. Principal Gakuganji couldn't understand. Before. Old man, let's open the skylight and speak clearly. Gojo Satoru went straight to the point. In the previous curse eradication mission, you conservatives targeted Itadori Yuji so much, didn't you do it wrong? Principal Gakuganji was silent, looked at Lin Feng next to Gojo Satoru, and said, Gojo Satoru, as one of the big three sorcerer families, you of the Gojo family, you should know that some things get involved without seeing the situation clearly. Very troublesome. Gojo Satoru said in a leisurely tone, so I'm afraid to chat with old antiques like you. It's Jujutsu World and big three sorcerer families. Do you have any other words besides these? Are you Jujutsu masters? When facing curse, do you rely on your mouth? Arrogant, this is the attitude of Gojo Satoru. Perhaps only Gojo Satoru, and only Gojo Satoru, dares to criticize the entire Jujutsu world so recklessly. Principal Gakuganji did not respond to Gojo Satoru's words, but instead dropped the topic directly on Lin Feng. Mr. Lin Feng, if I remember correctly, the current situation of the Ryomen Sukuna container is caused by you alone. The horror of King of Curses Ryomen Sukuna will be a catastrophe for the entire Jujutsu world. It is safest to completely destroy the container and fundamentally eliminate the existence of Ryomen Sukuna. If you do this, it will be very difficult for the senior management to do, and it will also make the senior management question Mr. Lin Feng's position. After hearing the words, Lin Feng's expression didn't change at all. So what? So Principal Gakuganji told me here, the final verdict, so what is it? Lin Feng leaned back, sat up straight, and looked down at Principal Gakuganji faintly, so this is what you conservatives mean. Principal Gakuganji's expression darkened. Lin Feng's frivolous tone and actions are really lawless. Gojo Satoru has the confidence to not care, why do you? Why put on such a look? Is it the courage given by ignorance? Mr. Lin Feng, I think the higher-ups really need to carefully consider your position. Lin Feng was laughed at directly. Principal Gakuganji, you conservatives are sitting on the Daiyutai, have you degenerated to the point where you can't speak clearly? We're here to find fault today, so at least you should show some attitude. So are you going to judge me as a curse user or a traitor? Or, you are very angry now and want to shoot me to death, but before that, you can't make the decision and need to ask for instructions. Principal Gakuganji fell silent because he had nothing to say. How can it be repaired? What Lin Feng said is absolutely correct. Ms. Gojo Satoru, coffee. Miwa Kasumi walked in and set down 2 cups of coffee from the tray. Students from the Kyoto Institute, thank you for your coffee. Gojo Satoru picked up the coffee and took a sip. The smile on his face couldn't stop. Principal Gakuganji, the students from the Kyoto Institute make really good coffee, you can try it. Gakuganji Yoshinobu wants to hit someone if he can. As the principal of Kyoto Prefectural Jujutsu College, his status is highly respected. Not only is he highly respected by many jujutsu masters, but even the head of the big 3 sorcerer families will give him 3 points. It's been a long time since he's been humiliated by someone pointing his nose like that. Humiliation is subtler than insult, but it is more lethal. At first, when the high-level officials decided to recycle the Ryomen Sukuna fingers sealed in various places, they did not consider the possibility of finger loss at all, let alone the loss of fingers that indirectly gave birth to the container. The existence of Itadori Yuji is a slap in the face of the high level, which proves the mistake of the high-level decision. It was none other than the unknown Lin Feng who brought this time bomb into the college, but at that time it was Gojo Satoru who blocked some tongues. Afterwards, the senior management conducted several discussions and agreed that Itadori Yuji, as the container of Ryomen Sukuna, was a bomb that could be detonated at any time. In order to prevent future incidents from being difficult to end, the senior management took some measures. The task of removing curse from the juvenile academy was assigned to the 1st grade, but it never occurred to him that Itadori Yuji would still not be able to die. And now, on the eve of the 2-station exchange meeting, already dared to force the palace. Gakuganji Yoshinobu leaned on his cane with both hands, wishing he could break the cane. In the end, he chose to be conservative, and the reason for this choice was purely that Gojo Satoru was standing opposite, the man who was enough to influence the jujutsu world. Quiet, deadly still. Gakuganji Yoshinobu didn't speak, as if he was asleep. Lin Feng finished his coffee and waited for a while, until his stomach hurts, but there was still no result. Forget it, what do I expect? Principal Gakuganji, if you don't want to say anything, then listen to me. Some time ago, Wu and I were on our way back to the high school when we encountered an ambush from 2 special grade cursed spirits. Their strength far exceeded the previous special grade. Quote, there is also the incident last year and a series of recent perspectives, all pointing out that the things you are desperately suppressing for the sake of ridiculous status and traditions have hit like a wave. What do you mean? Gakuganji Yoshinobu responded. What do I mean? Lin Feng stood up and said surprisingly, today's jujutsu world is like a rotten orange, although there is still some orange smell, but the rotten smell can no longer be hidden living. And rotten oranges have only one end, and that is to rot in the soil and become fertilizer. Gakuganji Yoshinobu's eyes deepened, and he looked directly at Lin Feng. Your words are too rude, is it possible that Principal Yae taught you this way? Ah. Gojo Satoru said, old man, although I have a good temper, I will not be happy if I keep hearing people slandering my close friends and teachers. One sentence abruptly blocked Gakuganji Yoshinobu's words. Gakuganji Yoshinobu was overwhelmed. Although he didn't want to admit it, he had to admit that he didn't care about Lin Feng's position, but Gojo Satoru's position was very important. Now, Gojo Satoru has sided with Lin Feng. Then all the situations will be disrupted, and a new choice needs to be made. Miwa Kasumi said, Mr. Lin Feng, what you said is very directional, and I will report it truthfully. Please go ahead, I've finished speaking anyway. Lin Feng stepped up to Miwa Kasumi. By the way, thank you for your coffee. Lin Feng walked out of the room without even looking at Gakuganji Yoshinobu. Gojo Satoru also got up to leave. When he came to the door, he stopped. Grandpa, a friendly reminder. If you use unconventional means, I don't recommend it. First rule out the possibility that I will be angry. Mr. Lin Feng has a bad temper. He doesn't belong to any of the big 3 sorcerer families, and he doesn't carry anything on his shoulders. In addition, I don't think there is anyone in the jujutsu world who can be his opponent. Principal Yae will arrive in 2 hours. After Gojo Satoru finished speaking, his figure flashed out. Mr. Lin Feng, don't go so fast, wait for me. Inside the room, Miwa Kasumi watched Gakuganji Yoshinobu just about to speak. When the latter stood up, Miwa, you stay here and receive Principal Yoshinobu. I have to take a step ahead. After coming out from inside, Gojo Satoru quickly followed Lin Feng's pace. Mr. Lin Feng, it's really yours. I haven't seen the old man so angry for many years. Lin Feng said flatly, it's not enough, I hope there will be more angry people. Ha, as expected of you. Gojo Satoru put his arms around Lin Feng's shoulders and said, it's just in such a sharp way, is it really okay? The jujutsu world is already dying. It needs strong medicine to cure the disease, and the diseased place needs surgery. You are the medicine, I am the scalpel, just right. Gojo Satoru laughed, super loudly, as if he hadn't been this happy for a long time. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.